Acceptance is the beginning of healing, and yet it's the hardest thing to do. We live in a world where we are taught to fix, to hide, to deny, to run away from pain. But tell me, how long can you keep pretending? How long can you keep wearing a mask when your heart is breaking inside? You see, pain has a way of finding us. It knocks on our door without invitation, it shatters the walls we build, and it forces us to look at ourselves, not the version we show to the world, but the real, raw, trembling version that hides behind the smiles. That moment when life changes without warning, when you lose something or someone you thought you could never live without, that moment when the ground beneath you disappears, that is when acceptance becomes your only path forward. But acceptance doesn't mean giving up. No, my dear friend, acceptance means making peace with reality. It means standing in the middle of your storm and saying, yes, this is my life right now. Yes, this pain is part of me, but it will not define me. When you stop fighting what has already happened, you free your soul from the chains of why. You can spend years asking, why me? And the answer may never come. But the day you whisper, maybe this happened asterisk for asterisk me, not asterisk to asterisk me, your healing begins. You shift from being a victim of life to being a student of it. Every wound becomes a lesson, every scar a reminder that you survived. I remember when I was lying in that hospital bed, unable to move, unable to accept what had happened to me. I was angry, I was broken, I was lost. I thought my life was over. The world I knew had vanished, and I didn't know who I was anymore. But one day I realized something powerful. No amount of crying, no amount of blaming, no amount of wishing could change what had already happened. The accident was part of my story now. The only thing I could control was how I chose to live with it. That realization was painful, but it was also freeing. Because when you accept your pain, it loses its power to control you. You stop being its prisoner and you start being its student. Acceptance is not weakness, it is courage, the kind of courage that demands honesty, vulnerability, and strength. It's easy to smile when everything is perfect, but it takes a warrior's heart to smile when everything is falling apart. It takes grace to look at your reflection, to see the parts of you that have been shattered and still say, I am enough. You see, pain changes you. It makes you softer, it makes you wiser, it makes you real, but only if you allow it to. Only if you stop denying its existence and start embracing it as a teacher. There will be days when acceptance feels impossible, days when you wake up and wish life had turned out differently. Days when your heart feels heavy and every breath hurts, and that's okay. Healing is not a straight line, it's a journey with ups and downs, tears and smiles, setbacks and breakthroughs. But if you keep walking, even with trembling steps, you will reach a place where your pain no longer defines you. You will reach a place where you can look back and say, it was hard, but it made me who I am. My dear friend, acceptance is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your rebirth. The beginning of strength, peace, and clarity. It is the bridge between suffering and freedom. When you accept, you give yourself permission to breathe again. You begin to see beauty in the brokenness, lessons in the losses, and hope in the hurt. Life may not always go as you planned, but that doesn't mean it has lost its meaning. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters of our lives are written in the ink of pain. So, stop running. Stop hiding, look your pain in the eyes and say, you are here and I am not afraid anymore. Let yourself feel every emotion, the anger, the sadness, the confusion, because feeling is healing. Do not numb yourself to avoid the hurt. Allow it to teach you what strength truly is, because acceptance is not passive. It is active. It is choosing to see your scars not as reminders of what you've lost, but as symbols of what you've overcome. It is choosing to move forward not because everything is okay, but because you believe it will be. One day, when you've accepted your pain and allowed it to guide you, you will wake up lighter. you will find that the things that once broke you no longer have power over you. You will begin to smile again, not because life is perfect, but because you are at peace. That's what acceptance does. It transforms pain into peace, chaos into clarity, and wounds into wisdom. It's not about forgetting what happened, but about learning to live with it and still choosing to grow. And maybe, just maybe, one day you'll look back and whisper to yourself, "This pain was never here to destroy me, it was here to awaken me." Redefining failure and limitations is one of the most powerful transformations you can ever experience in life. We are taught from a young age that failure is something to fear, something that diminishes our worth, something that makes us less than. But who decided that failure is the opposite of success? Who told us that limitations mean we are not enough? The truth is, life never punishes us by ending something. It redirects us towards something far greater than we could have ever imagined. The problem is, most of us stop at the point of pain. We stop at the point of rejection, and we assume that's the end. But my dear friend, failure is not the end of your journey. It's a new beginning wearing a disguise. When life closes one door, we spend so much time staring at it that we forget to notice the thousands of doors opening around us. Sometimes the universe takes away what is comfortable not to punish you, but to prepare you. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is a part of it. Every person you admire, every dreamer who made history, every soul who changed the world, they all failed, they all fell, they all faced rejection. The only difference is that they didn't stop there. They redefined what failure meant to them. They saw it not as defeat, but as direction. There was a time when I believed my limitations defined me. When people told me, "You can't do this, you can't achieve that, you can't live a normal life," I almost believed them. But one day I realized the only real limitation in my life was the belief that I couldn't. The day I changed that belief, my life changed forever. Limitations exist in the mind before they exist anywhere else. Your body can be broken, your circumstances can be hard, but your spirit, your will, that is limitless. You have the power to create, to rise, to rebuild, to transform. The question is, will you let failure stop you, or will you let it strengthen you? You see, failure is not your enemy, it's your instructor. Every time you fall, you learn something new about yourself, something success could never teach you. Failure teaches humility, patience, resilience, and faith. It teaches you how to start again with more wisdom and courage. It teaches you how to value growth more than perfection. When you fail, it means you tried. It means you had the courage to step out of your comfort zone. It means you dared to live. And there is nothing shameful about that. He's only playing. Sometimes we think limitations are barriers, but in reality, they are invitations. They push you to find new paths, new solutions, new versions of yourself that you never knew existed. When you can't go one way, life whispers, "Try another." That's how creativity is born, that's how strength is built, that's how greatness is shaped. Every limitation you face is a test, not of your ability, but of your belief. The strongest people in the world are not those who have no limitations. They are the ones who have turned their limitations into platforms of growth. I want you to look at your so-called failures, the exams you didn't pass, the people who walked away, the dreams that didn't happen, and instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Because every failure is a message in disguise, every setback a lesson preparing you for something greater. Life doesn't say no to punish you, it says not yet to prepare you. You are being molded, shaped, and strengthened by every fall you endure. You are not defined by your rejections, you are defined by your reactions. When life pushes you down, you have two choices: to stay there and pity yourself, or to rise with more fire, more hunger, more faith. When I lost what I thought was my future, I discovered a new purpose that I had never seen before. Sometimes what breaks you is actually what builds you. Sometimes losing one dream is how you discover a bigger one. You have to stop looking at failure as a punishment and start seeing it as protection. Maybe what didn't work out was never meant to. Maybe the plan you had was too small compared to what life had written for you. Don't let people label your limitations for you. You are not your scars. You are not your rejections. You are not your mistakes. You are the person who survived them, the person who kept going despite them. The world will always have opinions, but only you can decide what defines you. So, when you fail, smile, because it means you're learning. When you hit a wall, pause not to give up, but to find another way around. Remember, a limitation is only a boundary for those who believe in boundaries, for those who believe in growth. It's just another challenge to rise above. Every setback is setting you up for a comeback. Every time you fall, life gives you another chance to rise stronger. The cracks in your life are not signs of weakness. They are where the light enters. So the next time you feel you've failed, remind yourself, this is not the end. This is life preparing you for something extraordinary. Your failures are not there to destroy you. They are there to rebuild you, to refine you, to remind you of the unstoppable power that lives inside you. Gratitude in the midst of suffering, it sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? How can you be thankful when life has taken everything you once loved? How can you smile when your heart feels heavy, when your dreams have been shattered, when nothing around you makes sense? But my dear friend, that's exactly when gratitude matters the most, because gratitude is not about ignoring your pain, it's about transforming it. It's about shifting your focus from what's gone wrong to what still remains right. Gratitude is the bridge between pain and purpose, between heartbreak and healing. When you start practicing gratitude even in your hardest moments, something magical happens. Your pain stops being your prison and becomes your power. There was a time when I had lost so much that I could barely recognize my own reflection. I was angry, I was broken, I felt cheated by life. But one day, lying in that hospital bed, I looked around and saw people who were suffering even more than I was. People who had no family by their side, no one to hold their hand, no one to whisper you will be okay. And in that moment, I realized something profound. I still had something to be grateful for. I had my breath, I had love, I had a heart that still wanted to give even when it was hurting. And from that day on, I decided that gratitude would not be something I practice only when life is good. It would be something I hold on to when life gets hard. Because gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, it changes you. Gratitude opens your eyes, it allows you to see light even in darkness. It reminds you that even in pain, life is still offering you small blessings, the warmth of the sun on your face, the laughter of someone you love, the lessons hidden in your struggles. The truth is, gratitude doesn't deny the pain, it gives you strength to walk through it. When you start focusing on what you still have instead of what you've lost, you begin to reclaim your power. You start to realize that even in brokenness, beauty exists. People often say, how can I be grateful when my world is falling apart? And I say, that is exactly when gratitude becomes your greatest weapon. Because gratitude and pain cannot live in the same space. The moment you choose gratitude, pain begins to lose its grip on you. Gratitude doesn't erase your scars, it teaches you to wear them with pride. It teaches you to see every wound as proof that you survived, every tear as a sign that you still care, every loss as a reminder that you once had something worth loving. Life will not always go your way. There will be storms, losses, and disappointments, but gratitude helps you find peace even in the chaos. It teaches you that happiness is not found in having everything, but in appreciating everything you have. You can be in pain and still find something beautiful. You can cry and still whisper thank you. That whisper, that small act of acknowledgement is where true healing begins. Gratitude is not denial, it's defiance. It's standing in front of your suffering and saying, you can't take away my light. You see, pain changes your perspective. It strips away all illusions and brings you face to face with what truly matters. It teaches you that the little things you once took for granted were never little at all. The ability to breathe, to see, to feel, to love, those are miracles we often forget to notice until life reminds us how fragile they are. Gratitude restores that awareness. It brings you back to the present moment and says, look, even here, even now, there is something good. When you start being grateful, you stop being bitter. When you start being grateful, you stop comparing, you stop chasing what you don't have and start celebrating what you do. Gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that no matter how painful your past or uncertain your future, you still have today, and today is enough. Gratitude teaches you to smile not because everything is perfect, but because you have chosen to see the perfection in imperfection. It's not about pretending life is easy. It's about recognizing that life is still worth living even when it's hard. So when you wake up tomorrow and the weight of your pain feels unbearable, pause for a moment, take a deep breath and find one thing, just one, to be thankful for. Maybe it's the air you breathe, the sound of birds, the warmth of your blanket, or the simple fact that you are still here. Because being alive means you still have purpose, you still have time, you still have a chance to create meaning from your pain. And the more you practice gratitude, the more reasons life will give you to be grateful for. Gratitude transforms your heart. It takes bitterness and turns it into wisdom, despair and turns it into hope. It teaches you to trust the timing of life, that even your darkest chapters are part of a greater story being written for your growth. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that gratitude was the thread that kept you together when everything else fell apart. You'll see that gratitude didn't just heal you. It transformed your pain into power, your sorrow into strength, and your brokenness into beauty. Choosing courage over self-pity, it sounds simple when said aloud, but in truth, it's one of the hardest choices you'll ever have to make. Because when life knocks you down, when everything you dreamed of falls apart, when you feel invisible and forgotten, it's so easy to slip into that dark place of why me. It's easy to look at your pain and believe that life has been unfair. It's easy to build a home in your sadness, to replay your losses, to convince yourself that you are broken beyond repair. But my dear friend, courage begins exactly where self-pity ends. Courage is not about never crying, never falling, never feeling weak. It's about deciding that your pain will not be the full story of your life. It's about standing up again, even when every part of you wants to give up. There comes a point in life where you must make a choice to stay in your sorrow or to rise from it. You can either keep asking, why did this happen to me? Or you can look in the mirror and say, yes, it happened, but I'm still here, I'm still breathing, I still have a purpose. That is courage, to look at your broken pieces and decide to build something new from them. Self-pity will whisper that you can't. It will convince you that you are helpless, that the world owes you something that you'll never recover. But courage, oh courage, it shouts back, you are stronger than you think. You have survived things that were meant to destroy you. You have power. Courage doesn't wait for the pain to disappear. It walks with it. It says, I'm hurting, but I'm still moving forward. When I faced the lowest point of my life, when I was told I would never walk again, I had two choices: to drown in self-pity or to rise in courage. And for a long time I did feel sorry for myself. I cried, I screamed, I questioned everything. But one day I realized something profound. My tears were valid, but they could not be my forever. If I stayed in that place of self-pity, I would only be surviving, not living. So I chose courage, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Courage doesn't erase pain, it transforms it. It doesn't make your life perfect, it makes you stronger. And I learned that every single act of courage, no matter how small, pushes back the darkness a little more. Self-pity keeps you trapped in what you cannot change. It keeps you focused on what you've lost instead of what you can still gain. It tells you that you are powerless, when in truth, you are powerful beyond measure. Courage, on the other hand, opens your eyes to possibilities. It teaches you that strength is not about pretending to be okay. It's about acknowledging that you're not and still showing up. Courage is the quiet voice that says, I will try again tomorrow. It is the decision to get up one more time than you fall. It is choosing to see hope where others see hopelessness. There is nothing noble about staying broken when you have the strength to rebuild yourself. The world will not change for you, but you can change how you respond to it. You can choose to rise. You can choose to fight. You can choose to be the kind of person who turns pain into passion, fear into faith, and defeat into determination. That choice, that single, powerful choice, changes everything. Life doesn't get easier, you just get braver. You see, courage is not found in grand gestures. It's found in the little moments, in choosing to smile through your tears, in choosing to try again after failure, in choosing to believe in yourself when no one else does. Courage is waking up and facing another day with a heart that still hopes. It's telling yourself, I am not defined by my pain, I am defined by how I rise from it. And when you choose courage, something shifts inside you. The same situation that once broke you starts to build you. The same pain that once silenced you begins to shape your purpose. You may think you are weak because you feel pain, but the truth is, the strongest souls are the ones who have felt deeply and still chosen to love, to give, to dream. Self-pity is a thief. It steals your joy, your energy, your future. But courage gives you everything back. It gives you your power. It teaches you that pain is temporary, but the lessons it gives are eternal. You cannot control every storm, but you can control how you sail through it. So, when life hurts you, and it will, don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? Don't sit in the ashes of what you've lost. Rise and rebuild. Don't let your story end with sadness. Let it continue with strength. You are not a victim of your past. You are a warrior shaped by it. Choose courage even when your voice shakes, even when your legs tremble, even when your heart is tired. Because courage isn't about being fearless. It's about walking through the fire despite your fear. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the pain you thought would break you actually built the strongest version of you. The version that refused to give up, that refused to stay small. That chose courage over self-pity every single time. Transforming pain into service is one of the highest forms of healing and one of the deepest expressions of strength. You see, when life hurts you, when it breaks your heart and leaves you with scars, you have two choices. You can let that pain bury you, or you can turn it into something that helps others rise. And the truth is, the moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how can this help someone else? That's the moment your pain finds its purpose. Because the most beautiful souls are not the ones who have lived an easy life. They are the ones who have walked through fire and still choose to light the way for others. Every time you share your story, every time you speak about your struggles, every time you use your experience to guide someone else, you are turning your pain into service. You are telling the world, yes, I suffered, but I will not let that suffering go to waste. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Pain demands to be felt, but what you do with that pain, that's where your power lies. You can carry it as a burden, or you can mold it into something that lifts others. When you start serving others through your story, your scars become your superpower. I remember a time when I thought my pain had no meaning, when I questioned every single thing life had taken from me. But the moment I began to speak about it, the moment I started sharing my story not for sympathy, but to give hope, everything changed. People began to tell me, your words gave me strength, your story helped me believe again. Because of you, I didn't give up. And that's when I realized this is what it means to transform pain into service. My pain was no longer just mine. It became a bridge that connected me to others who were hurting. It became a message of hope for someone standing at the edge of despair. When you help others heal, a part of you heals too. There is something deeply human, deeply divine about using your brokenness as a blessing for others. The world doesn't need perfect people. It needs people who have walked through storms and are willing to guide others through theirs. Your pain gives you empathy, and empathy gives you purpose. It allows you to sit beside someone who is crying and say, "I understand. I've been there." And those simple words can save someone's life. Serving others doesn't always mean doing something grand. Sometimes it's just listening, sometimes it's offering a kind word, sometimes it's reminding someone that they are not alone. Every act of service, no matter how small, creates ripples of healing. When you turn your pain into something that serves, you reclaim your power from it. You take control of your story. Instead of letting pain define you, you define what it means. You decide that it will no longer be a source of sorrow, but a source of strength. Pain has a purpose. It doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to awaken you. It opens your heart, deepens your compassion, and teaches you what it truly means to love and understand others. You cannot help others if you've never been hurt, because true empathy comes from experience. When you've been through darkness, you learn how to be someone else's light. When you've been broken, you learn how to hold others gently. That is how pain transforms into service, when it becomes your reason to make the world softer, kinder, and more human. Too often, we think healing means forgetting the past, but real healing means turning your past into purpose. It's standing on the ashes of what you've lost and saying, "I will build something meaningful from this." Maybe you will speak. Maybe you will create. Maybe you will simply love others better because of what you've been through. Every act of kindness born from pain is a form of service. Every lesson learned the hard way becomes wisdom you can share. And every tear you've cried becomes water that helps someone else's hope grow. Don't hide your scars. The world needs them. The world needs people who can say, "I've been there, but I made it through." You never know who is watching you, who is drawing courage from your resilience, who is silently saying, "If they can do it, maybe I can too." That's what service truly is, using your story to remind others that healing is possible, because the truth is your pain was never meant to end with you. It was meant to move through you to reach others, to create change. So, my dear friend, if you are hurting, don't let that pain go to waste. Use it, speak it, share it, serve with it. Let your story become a source of strength for those who are lost in theirs. The most powerful thing you can do is to turn your pain into purpose and your suffering into service. When you do that, you no longer just survive, you start to live with meaning. You start to give others hope. And in that process, you discover something beautiful, that your pain was never a curse, it was a calling to make the world a little brighter through the power of your story, your strength, and your heart. Living a life of purpose, not perfection, that's where true fulfillment begins. Because perfection is an illusion that drains your spirit, while purpose is the truth that fuels your soul. We spend so much of our lives chasing perfection, the perfect job, the perfect body, the perfect relationship, the perfect image, thinking that once we have it all together, we will finally feel complete. But perfection is a trap. It keeps you running in circles, always striving, never arriving. The more you chase it, the further you move from yourself. Life is not meant to be flawless, it's meant to be meaningful. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about finding what sets your soul on fire and living it with courage, passion, and heart. You see, perfection comes from fear, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of failure. But purpose comes from love, love for who you are, love for what you do, love for the difference you want to make in the world. Perfection says, "I must never fall." Purpose says, "Even when I fall, I will rise with meaning." And that's the beauty of living with purpose. It gives you the strength to see every mistake as a lesson, every setback as a redirection, every flaw as a reminder that you are beautifully human. The world doesn't need perfect people. It needs real people, passionate people, people who are not afraid to show their scars and still move forward with faith. When I first began my journey after tragedy, I thought I had to be strong all the time. I thought I had to hide my tears, to never show weakness, to appear perfectly healed. But that wasn't living, that was pretending. True living began when I allowed myself to be real, when I accepted that I didn't have to be perfect to inspire others. I just had to be honest, because people don't connect with your perfection, they connect with your truth. They connect with the way you rise after falling, the way you smile through pain, the way you keep believing when everything tells you not to. Purpose is not about doing everything right. It's about doing what's right for your heart again and again, no matter how many times you stumble. When you live for perfection, your life becomes small. You measure yourself by standards that were never meant for you. You compare, you compete, you criticize yourself endlessly. But when you live with purpose, your world expands. You stop trying to prove yourself and start trying to express yourself. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, what good can I do? Purpose shifts your focus from yourself to something greater. It reminds you that your life is not just about success, but about significance, not about being flawless, but about being useful, being kind, being real. The truth is, perfection is lifeless. It leaves no room for growth, no space for mistakes, no depth for compassion. But purpose is alive. It evolves with you, it challenges you, it humbles you, it brings you peace. Purpose gives meaning to your pain and direction to your dreams. It helps you see that even the worst days are part of a bigger design. It whispers to you, you are exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn, becoming who you are meant to become. And when you start to live that way, you realize that happiness doesn't come from having a perfect life. It comes from living a purposeful one. There is a quiet power that comes from living with intention. It's the peace of knowing that even if you fail, even if people misunderstand you, even if things don't go your way, you still lived authentically. You still stayed true to your heart, you still gave what you could. Purposeful living is not about the applause. It's about alignment, aligning your actions with your values, your heart with your mission, your pain with your passion. It's waking up every day and asking, how can I serve? How can I make today count? How can I be a little better than I was yesterday? That's how you create a life that matters. So stop chasing perfection. It doesn't exist. Stop waiting for everything to be just right before you start living. Start now with what you have where you are. Start imperfectly, because purpose doesn't demand that you be perfect. It only asks that you be present. You will make mistakes, you will fail, you will fall short, but that's okay. Those moments are not proof of weakness. They are proof that you're trying, that you're growing, that you're alive. Every crack, every scar, every imperfection tells a story, and that story might just be the reason someone else finds hope again. Living a life of purpose means embracing all of it, the joy, the pain, the triumphs, the losses, and understanding that it all belongs. Every part of your journey is shaping you into who you are meant to be. Don't waste your life trying to be perfect. Spend it being purposeful. Because perfection dies with you, but purpose lives beyond you. When you live with purpose, your life becomes your message, and your message becomes your legacy. So live boldly, live truthfully, live with meaning, because a purposeful life doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful, it just needs to be real.